Okay, so if you want to pick D.Va and just follow me and we'll go through.
I play to win.
Yeah, I've made it so you spawn with ultimate ready in this custom game mode. Another thing as well, I think you don't have push to talk on. You might have open mic in game, so that might be an idea to turn that off. Well, actually, it's actually probably best to turn that off permanently because teammates can sometimes leave voice channel when they hear people on open mic. But yeah, might be an idea to turn it off now as well, just so because I can hear you twice and it's kind of hard to understand. So to do that, you would go on options, sound, and then on sound it should have where is it? It might actually be in social. Wait, where is this? I've forgotten myself, honestly.
I don't even know what how do I change stuff?
Oh, what do you mean? Sorry. Oh, do you know how to get to options in game?
No.
Oh, okay. Press escape.
Okay.
Go to options.
Got it.
Yep. And on sound,
Got it. I got it.
there should be something called voice chat mode. Yeah, push talk. So you will need to find your push talk button in controls. There, if you scroll down, there will be a voice chat push to talk under chat and voice. But yeah, you can sort of find that out after.
Yeah, well, I got push to talk on there, and I know what the button is. It's just kind of, you know, hard to find it when I want to talk. But anyway, you can hear me.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, are you ready? Okay, so if you want to follow me, so Hanamura, I'm guessing. Yeah, sorry. I'm guessing you already know Hanamura anyway. And do you know how chokes work in certain maps? Because we can go through the basics as well for most maps.
Okay, we can do that. Yeah, a choke is a point where they're forced to come through a small, tight area.
Yeah, so
Go ahead.
So the small tight area thing is only really specific to some maps, but the choke is mainly the place where they have to come through, where every character can go through. Now, the reason why up here, for example, isn't a choke is because not every character can make it up here, if you're thinking of like Reinhardt and Zarya. So it's mainly the ground area that most people can come through. And some maps actually have multiple chokes, which make some heroes better on those maps. But, for example, Hanamura first point, it only has one choke, which is this doorway here. Second point has 3, so that changes a bit. But yeah, so for this, well, at least you know what the choke is, so that's good as well. So yeah, this is the choke for Hanamura. Now, as a D.Va player, right, so on attack, obviously you're sticking with your team, and you're looking for quick damage, but you need to also bear in mind something, and this is more like positioning with D.Va. D.Va excels when she has the high ground. So depending on what the enemies have, you want to be able to take high ground and sort of, take away some of the damage from your main tank, maybe the Reinhardt or the Reinhardt. This is if you have a Reinhardt, sorry. So in GOATs, you want to take away some of the damage from your main tank shield and be able to deal damage through their shield. So if you're playing this GOATs comp, right, and your Reinhardt is staying here with the Zarya, it might be an idea as a D.Va. You can either obviously stay at main and shoot through the shield, or if you want to look to charge your ult or maybe even get a pick off, you go top left here and force anyone who's up here off of high ground. So this is an important thing as well. If there's someone up here, for example a Hanzo or a Widow, shooting your whole team from up here, it's your job as D.Va to keep them off of there. So what you do is you do a boost and you stop the boost after you've hit them up here. And once you've hit them up here, you shoot them for a bit and force them to run away. And at this point, you can now drop back down and go to your team. So their decision then, the Hanzo or whatever's decision then, is to either stay with their team here or run back up to this place and go back onto high ground. But because D.Va's cooldown on her boosters is only 5 seconds, you can do this like quite often to force them off high ground. And if you're really good at using the missiles, shooting and boosting at the same time, what you can do is you can boost up, use the missiles, shoot at the same time, and maybe even kill them as they're like, running away. Okay?
Okay.
So that's just a really important thing to know as D.Va. It's your job to get rid of the sniper, to get rid of the enemies on the high ground, to push them off of it, and either kill them or force them to run away to their team. Cool. So yeah. I will go through this after again, just so you remember it, so that's kind of important. So anyway, other than that, if you want to be able to shoot past their shields to be charging your ult, and you're in a scenario where maybe your Zarya has ult, and you don't have ult, and you're looking to try and get your ult as fast as possible, what you would want to do is go to a high ground position like this, up here. You have to kind of practice with the boosters to kind of like land up here. It might take a few tries, but try and do that in a practice game by yourself. Yeah, so what you have to do, you have to sort of stop boosting. What you do to do this is you look up and you stop boosting just as you're about to make it up there, and the projection of your boosters will sort of like keep you going up for a bit longer and land you on top of her. So keep on trying that again, actually, just so we can get So you're looking at the right angle. You just need to stop boosting a bit earlier. So you're stopping boosting too late and it's pushing you over. Try again. Once you get it, you will get used to how like early you start to fall back down. Oh, another thing I want to mention as well, if you seem as if you're boosting and you keep on going over it, what you do is when you stop boosting, you press W to like land on the thing, because if you don't do it like I did, you'll always like fly over it. So you press W to sort of get yourself onto it. So try again. This is a really good like. So you stop boosting and then press W. I mean, you can do what you just did there, where you actually continue on the boost and look down, but it's a lot easier to do it how I did it, and it's really good practice for other points on the map. So let's try again. If you can get it once, then I just know, and then you can practice that in your own time. Okay, so try again from down here. So yeah, this is, to be fair, it's quite hard to start off with, but yeah, you just have to look at the same position. So look at this, aim here, I'd say. Start boosting and then stop boosting when you get to the, like, about there. You stop boosting when you're there. So try again. So you boost up, stop boosting, and you just land on it like this. And you can use the movement buttons to sort of direct it. Really good. So can we try and do that twice in a row? And then I'll say that you're, like, perfected it. So it's just knowing how fast the boosters go and how to do booster cancels. It's kind of good to get into really difficult positions like this as well, and it applies to all different maps, so it's a good talent to know. So you hit the ceiling there. If we can get it twice in a row, I'll say that you can do it. Yeah, perfect. So do you feel it now, how like early you need to like stop it? It's a really good thing to learn. Yeah, exactly. So it's all about the positioning and using the WASD to sort of move yourself in midair to get yourself on the thing. So there, if you go too far, then remember to hold down W, just so you're like moving backwards, so you don't like overshoot it, if that makes sense. Anyway, if you want to come up here quickly, and I'll show you the next bit. So just because it's Hanamura, I know this is kind of a hard one to start with, but it's because it's Hanamura. So the reason I say to go up here, because up here you have full view, and from up here you can quickly scout for where the enemies are holding in case you just need information. You don't have to say the information, it's just for your sake, just so you can remember when your team is pushing in where people are holding. Now up here you have a choice. If you were to charge your ult, like I was saying before, how you want to charge your ult because maybe your Zarya has ult and you want something to combo with, from up here you can fire missiles and shoot past the enemy shield. If the enemies are holding this close, you can shoot past their shields. If they're holding here, you can't. But the benefit of going up there as well, if they're holding here, is you can actually shoot anyone that's on here or anyone that's on here. Now, don't jump off from there, because the moment you jump off from there and you don't have boosters, you're just going to die because you're like right in the middle of them. You might be able to matrix and run away, but it's kind of risky. So you're mainly here to fire the missiles here and to shoot while you're doing it, because, you know, there's no disadvantage to shooting mainly. Okay, so this can give you a bit of ultimate charge and maybe get off some DPSs. So another thing as well that I want to mention, most people probably don't know this, but against certain heroes like Widowmakers and Hanzos, even if you damage them like a slight amount, maybe by like 80 damage or stuff like that, it forces them away to either get healed or to run to a health pack. So even that is enough to, make them run away and hide, or just like run away to actually go and get healed or anything like that. So for you, jumping up here and then missiling the Hanzo that might be down here, all that for you that's charging roll. But for the Hanzo, he's going to start panicking, running away, and maybe wasting his time and stopping him from dealing damage. Okay?
Got it. Yeah.
Obviously, one thing I want to mention as well, if you're playing against a Hanzo or a Widow who's sort of fearless, and you do this to them the first time and they don't even react to it, then an idea that you can do is from here, jump down onto them like this while shooting at them to try and get them really low. And if they still don't react, you'll kill them. If they start to react there and run away, you've got time. But one thing I want to mention as well, as a D.Va, it's very important to know how much HP you have without having to look at your health. Or, I mean, for you, I would look at your health every so often just to know. But if you've seen on your UI that you've been taking a lot of damage because you know the little hit marker, the red hit markers that show you've been getting hit, and you can feel yourself getting hit, if you've been getting hit for like maybe 1 or 2 seconds, it's always an idea to look at your HP for like a split second just to see if you're in danger and you need to back off. So as a D.Va in a place like here or up here, the moment you get to about 250, 300 HP, and you're not just about to kill someone, you just need to jump backwards back to your team, call for a heal with the X button, and then wait until you're full health again, and then rinse and repeat, okay? So, do you know what pressing X does on the keyboard? So if you press X, try it now. Yeah. Wait. That's really weird. Is it saying I need healing for you?
No.
Press it again?
There we go. Maybe I accidentally switched it when I'm messing with it. I don't know.
Okay, because I can hear the sound, but it's not saying I need healing. That's really odd. Can you just go to your options quickly and go to controls?
Yeah.
So yeah, go to controls and scroll down to communication. It's like the third one down. And it should be need healing / buffs. What letter is that on?
X.
Yeah, so back out again and press X.
X. Bind need healing buffs.
Yeah, just leave it on X.
Right. Yeah.
So press it. Is it on X? And now come out of the options and press it again. Are you pressing it?
Yeah.
That's really weird. Do you have the team chat like turned off by any chance? We need to kind of figure this out because the problem is pressing X. It's happening to me, you know, as well. Okay, did you hear me say it now?
I don't hear you saying it, but I see you're actually. It's displaying it, but it's not saying it.
Yeah, that's very odd. I don't actually know then. So actually, quickly, because the reason I say this is because X is one of the best tools you can have as a tank player. Because what it for your teammates or like for your healers, it shows up as a little like healing icon to show that you need healing before you want to go and do the next thing or anything like that. And it's a good way to sort of alert them because sometimes if you're behind a healer and you don't press X, they will never turn around to heal you, but pressing X allows them to hear you behind you and then they'll turn around and heal you. Okay, so quickly, if you want to go to options again, and I'm going to try and figure this out because it might just be this custom game, but I want to see if it's one of the gameplay options that you've turned off.
Okay,
so can you go to options and then gameplay and then can you just go through all these settings to see if anything's been changed?
Okay, I'll just I won't even read it. Off, on, UI, on, off, on, 100%.
And the final one at the bottom?
On.
Okay. So the only one... Oh, wait. Can you go through that again?
Off, on, UI, on, off.
Okay, yeah, that's fine, that's fine. So the only thing that's different is you have skirmish while searching on. Now, I know that this is kind of unrelated, but it might be an idea for you to actually turn that off because what it does is actually increase your search times if you have that on.
Okay.
So it's up to you. If you like playing skirmish, then that's up to you. That's just the only thing that's different.
I actually wondered. I shows you how much I've been playing the game, but yeah, I'd rather have it off anyway.
Okay, cool. So yeah, you can turn it off. And next can you go to social and read those out? I don't think it will be.
You ready?
Yep, go.
On, friends only, on, friends, anyone, on.
Yeah, so it's nothing there. That's really weird. I'm thinking it's just the lobby. What I would say is try and test it out in a real game and press X, and if it comes up with no notification and your healers don't react to you, then I don't know. It might be an idea to try and either rebind it or look that up, because I've never seen that happen to anyone before. But anyway, so yeah. So what I was saying before, anyway, once you drop down here, it's good to throw out an X to show that you need healing, and then your teammates will like throw a heal at you, and then from here, right, what you can do is you can either stay at main here and start shooting from here if you want to destroy the shields. If the DPSs have gone behind the shields, that's fine. But if the DPSs, you know, have gone back up into their high ground positions or back up to the top left, just once you're on full HP, rinse and repeat and go for these like quick kills and stuff like that. Okay? So go for the quick kill or the peel or anything like that. So yeah. So you got up here. So actually another thing I want to try as well, can you stop on this ledge? Because it's this ledge you want to go. If you go to here, it can actually cause you to die, because this can be too far. So try and from down here, I know you can do the higher one, so you can probably do this one. Try and get up here. So can you land on here? Fine. Now one thing I want to try as well, can you do that while firing the missiles just as you get up there? So what I want you to do is boost up, and as soon as you're about to land, fire the missiles and shoot at the ground. Don't do it while you're in midair, do it as soon as you land. But you have to remember, you have to stop boosting to land on here, because if you go there it's too far and you probably will die. So then you missiles and you fire at the same time. You have to always missiles and fire at the same time. Yeah, like that, because that just deals the most damage. So that's how you would want to rush someone or dive someone to, you know, get them off high ground or maybe even kill them. And if the enemy is low as well, that's an even better thing to do, because you can go up here, shoot them, and if they're low, you'll probably kill them with the missiles anyway. Okay, cool. So yeah, that's just a thing. And the reason I say, if you come up here, the reason I say not to go to here is because when you're here, the moment you've landed on here, there's 5 seconds where you have to stay alive. And if you get shot really fast and you get demeched before 5 seconds, you're just going to die. But if you're over here and you get shot loads and like nearly die, before the 5 seconds is up, you can just drop down like this and you're safe. Does that make sense? So again, in bronze against bad players, you can probably stay up there for 10 seconds. You probably won't even die. I mean, I really don't know what happens at bronze. But again, depending on the characters as well, like that you're against, you will take more damage against certain ones like Junkrat and stuff like that. But the main reason you want to go up to these high grounds like up here or here is to either push the DPS off to get him to run away, or to deal damage through the shield. But again, if there's no DPSs there and you want to help your teammates with the shield, just stay down here and shoot at the shield. Always left click as D.Va, like constantly, unless you want to move fast, because obviously when you're shooting you move really slow. Okay, that applies to every single map, I'd say, and that's how to deal with the DPSs that are sort of like destroying your whole team. Another thing I want to mention as well that's kind of important, if you're against a team where there's 2 DPSs holding up here, so say there's 2 of them up here, and whenever you boost up here you just die really fast because they both start shooting at you, what you do in this scenario is you actually just boost up to knock them off. So what you would do is you'd go up with missiles, and as soon as you hit them, you'd drop back down almost immediately while defense matrixing backwards for like a split second. Okay?
Okay.
Now, you'd only want to do that if you've tried it one time without doing that, and you've died really quickly. So from then on, you know, if you go up there for too long, you're just going to die really quickly. So you just want to go up there to sort of push them off with the knockback from your boosters, because your boosters have knockback. So you just want to fly up there to push them off, and then you sort of come back down after, you know, at that point, maybe if they're a Hanzo, you know, they can just wall climb back up. But only Hanzo and Genji can do that. If it's not Hanzo and Genji, they usually have to waste a move to come back up here, or maybe to come back up here. Okay, so if it's a Widow, she has to waste a grapple, and grapple has a cooldown of, I think it's 10 or 12 seconds. And if you've boosted up to knock her off. So what you do is you boost her up, knock her off, and come back down in one quick swoop. So let me show you that again. Well, how I do it. So if there's a widow up there and you saw her use a grapple or you want to push her off, you go up here, you hit her, and you just turn around without landing on it. Okay. If you want to land on there, that's fine. You can sort of do that, but it's kind of hard because if you stop boosting before you land here, the boost isn't going to knock her back off. So again, if there's ever a widow up there, boost up, knock her off, and come back down in the middle of a boost, like that. Okay. Again, with practice of like turning smoothly, you'll be able to do it in one quick turn and like land almost straight away. Yeah, and once that's knocked her off, what happens now? She has a decision. She can either grapple to go back up there, or maybe to go in the left window. If it's a widow playing that close, and if she grapples, your boosters have a 5-second cooldown. Her grapple, as I said, has a double that cooldown. So what you do is, as soon as the boosters come back on, you just repeat it. You do it again. As soon as you land, you go back to shooting the shield at main. So there's never like any downtime. You're always like in the middle of doing something. So you go back up, shush her off, blah blah blah. That's only if there's a widow on their team or a hero, that has to waste a move to get up there. If it's a Hanzo, you can do that, but the problem with a Hanzo is if you push him off, he can just wall climb back up there and get up there extremely quickly. So with a Hanzo, your main job is to probably try and kill him as well, or maybe deal enough damage where he really wants to run away to like get healed, okay? Because just pushing him off like this isn't gonna like scare him off. He'll just wall climb back up. And that's, as I said, that's only Hanzo and Genji that are the two characters that can sort of, that won't do anything against, okay? Yeah, so you got to hang of it like that. That's just a really good tech against DPSs that are doing a lot to your team and sort of being a nuisance to your team. Now, the reason I sort of taught you this now early on is because that applies to every single map where there's some high ground where DPSs hold a lot. And this Hanamura was just obviously the first one I picked, and it's just a good example. And also this applies to both sides as well. So if you're on defense, as a D.Va on defense, there's 2 positions you want to hold. There's actually 3, technically. So the first position you hold is here, around this corner like this. And the reason for this is if your Reinhardt is holding there, where I'm shooting, you want to hold close to him, but you want to also hold near a corner. So if your Reinhardt drops his shield and you ever start taking too much damage, all you have to do is move right, and you're behind a corner. No one can hit you. You can get healed by maybe your Ana, your Mercy, anything like that, and you're safe until you're full HP, and then peek out again, go for the shoot, go for the rockets, anything like that. Okay. So this is the first position you can hold. The second position. Sorry.
I'm just thinking.
No. I will go through that after. This is mainly just positioning with like D.Va, really. But yeah, so this is the first position. Now you'd hold this position when, as I said, your Reinhardt's holding close, but also remember you're shooting at the shield. So it's the same as the attacking thing. On attack, you're shooting here if you want to try and help your team destroy a shield. Maybe they have an Orisa that's constantly got a shield up, or maybe they have a Reinhardt. Against Reinhardt, it's a lot better doing this, because the problem with an Orisa, if your whole team's not shooting the shield constantly and it's just you shooting it, she just puts it down a new one before you can even destroy the first one. So standing here shooting it does literally nothing at all, and it stops you from charging your ult. But against a Reinhardt, if you're shooting it, helping your team with like maybe missiles, shooting at it, once the enemy Reinhardt shield gets destroyed, he's sort of vulnerable for 5 seconds for your whole team to just start shooting at him or anything like that, okay? So do you know the 3 main tanks, actually, before I go forward in the game? Who are the 3 main tanks?
The Reinhardt, the other shield tank begins with an O.
Orisa?
Orisa, yeah.
Yep, and the final one? Yeah. So the description for main tank is a tank that has a shield, basically.
Yeah.
With the shield with health, basically. So the final one is just Winston. Okay?
Is who? Winston?
Winston.
Okay.
Yeah, because he has a shield. Now, the difference between the 3, Orisa is a static main tank. Once she puts down her shield, she can't move it. So the counter to Orisa is you playing in a position that sort of goes past her shield. So for example, if she puts it down right here, playing in front, walking up past it and shooting at her would kill her. Not only that, Going up here allows you to shoot past it. So Orisa, while her shield is the most powerful, it's static, and you can counter her by just going past her or rushing into her, if that makes sense. She can't really move it. Reinhardt is probably the best one in terms of ground shields because he can always move it, reposition it anytime he wants. He can drop it anytime he wants and anything like that. Now, to counter Reinhardt, if you're up here, for example, and you're shooting, Reinhardt can aim the shield at you. He won't do that 90% of the time, because if he starts aiming the shield at you while you're up here missiling him, you know, the people over here at main are going to be able to shoot him for free. So he's not going to want to do that most of the time. But the benefit of Reinhardt is he can reposition himself. So if he jumps backwards at this angle here where I'm standing, it's now shielding both of those positions. Fine, okay? So that's the benefit of Reinhardt. And to counter Reinhardt, you just destroy her shield. So for Orisa, you can counter her, yes, by destroying her shield if you're unable to, like, you know, run past her or get in a sideways line of sight to her. But it's way harder to just destroy Orisa's shield. And against Reinhardt, destroying his shield is probably going to cause him to die, especially if you have like a Zenyatta, for example. Now, the final one, Winston, is the dive tank. So you've got static main tank, Orisa. You've got dynamic main tank, Reinhardt, and you've got dive main tank, Winston. Now, Winston, so the benefit of Winston is he can jump anywhere he wants, jump onto a DPS, jump onto supports or anything like that, close off any healing to them because you can't heal through shields. So it closes off any healing to them, and then he can sort of, you know, easily solo kill them if they're by themselves. But the disadvantage of Winston is that his shield isn't always active, and once he places his shield down, it goes on a really long cooldown and doesn't have much HP. So that means if you come to the choke here and you have Winston, the longer he waits at the choke, the more likely his whole team's just going to die. You need to sort of go in fast, and you need to pick a target fast. And once he leaps in, his supports at the back are now exposed without a shield, if that makes sense. So that's the disadvantage of Winston. But yeah, so knowing those three is really important as D.Va, because as I said, with Orisa, your job is to just try and go sideways in a line of sight or run through the shield to try and deal damage to her as a D.Va. As a Reinhardt, you just want to shoot the shield a lot to try and get him to destroyed. And as a Winston, you just go on anyone you want until he places the shield, and then you have an option. You can either shoot the shield to destroy it at close range because you do loads of damage to it, or just completely ignore it, push anyone who's inside the shield out of it with your boosters, and then sort of shoot them while they're outside the shield or anything like that. But an important thing to know against a Winston, if he ever places his bubble, remember where your supports are, because if he places a bubble here, for example, and you're inside it, you can no longer get healed. Your supports have to literally run up to you inside the shield, and if they're inside the shield, they're going to be starting to get damaged by the enemy Winston as well. So you need to just know you either go outside of the shield and just destroy it from the outside, or know who you're going on, who you're shooting at is nearly about to die, so you can sort of go in aggressively and kill them before they kill you without healing. Okay? So those are the three sort of main tanks thing. And the reason I said, you know, this high ground thing we're practicing here, again, it applies for both attack and defense. So on defense, as I said, you either go up here or you actually go up in this window and you fire missiles past their shield. This is if they have like an Orisa or a monkey. You want to do this like this. Or maybe if there's a DPS coming up here. If there's no DPS coming up here and there's no Orisa or monkey on the enemy team, then just start on the ground here and then fire missiles at the Reinhardt, shoot them and stuff like that. And one thing I want to mention as well is, remember, the moment you go past the choke, it's too far as D.Va. So while on attack, you sort of have a lot of options, you know, where to go, and the enemy DPSs can only really hold here, and if they hold up here, you can sort of push them off, or if they hold here, you can kill them. On defense, if you're on defense, there's a new position that the Widow can hold. The Widow can hold here. Now, the problem with the Widow holding here is it's actually past your safe choke. So as a D.Va, the moment you start to boost to go after the Widow through here, you're going way past the choke. And if you're going way past the choke, you now have no safe way of returning back to your team. And if they have any teammates that can climb up to this high ground to help the Widow, you're just going to die, get demeched, and, you know, lose the point, okay? So if there's a Widow up there, up in that window, you never want to boost after her unless, you know, the fight's already won and there's she's the only one left on the enemy team. Okay, Oh, I hate when it does this. I'm gonna re-invite you, so. Okay, yeah, for some reason, game mode shut down after 30 minutes by default. So this happens in literally every single coaching session. Let me re-invite you again. Maps, Hanamura, cool. Yeah, it sort of makes me lose, like, track of what I'm thinking. But that's fine. Just pick D.Va again. And let's go back to the same position. So you have unlimited boosters, so you can just continually boost. Cool. So anyway, what was I just talking about here? Oh yeah, the Widow. If the Widow's at the choke up there. So I just say Widow as an example, right? Any DPS that likes to use high ground and can easily get high ground will hold up here a lot of the time. Now, as I said, they can hold up here, but if they're up here, you can do the same thing I mentioned for you on attack, okay? So on attack, you just boost up there and knock them off. On defense, you boost up there, knock them off, and come back down, and then go back to main and start shooting at the shield and any teammates and stuff like that, okay? Now, again, the same goes for up here. If a Hanzo wall climbs up here or a Widow grapples up here, you go up here, you stand up here, you shoot them, force them off, force them to run away, force them to get healed, and then after you've done that, come back down here. If they go back up there again, rinse and repeat when you're back to full health, okay? So, as I said, the only difference is this new position here. And with this new position, any hero that can get DPS that can get high ground easily, that goes for Ashe, that goes for Widow, that goes for Hanzo. So any hero like that, there are more DPSs that can, like Genji technically as well. But heroes that, like DPSs that can't get high ground easily, usually won't hold up here. There are sometimes they do go up here just because, you know, they take the long route round. But DPSs like McCree, Soldier are just going to hold on the ground. And if they're holding on the ground, that's no issue for you because you've got usually a Reinhardt shield here ready. But one thing I want to mention as well to your team, every single team should have one main tank. And I've already mentioned the 3 main tanks, Orisa, Winston, and Reinhardt. You should always have one of those 3, okay? To force a team. Reinhardt, at lower ranks, Reinhardt is the easiest one to play in those scenarios. Well, no, sorry, not the easiest one to play. Reinhardt's the most common. The easiest one out of those 3 is actually Orisa, but she's also the worst because of that reason, okay? So always make sure you have one of those, because the moment you don't have a shield, do you know what happens when you don't have a shield? Like, what the disadvantage of not having a main tank is?
Well, it's easy for a main tank, a tank with a shield, to move the point.
Move? What do you mean? Sorry.
Push and force the team to.
Yeah. So. Yeah. So for attack, that's correct. Now, what about defense? Why should you always have a main tank when you're on defense?
Because you can control how far they can push, and also your DPS can.
Not really. So that's sort of true. I will give you that. But the thing is, as well, you do see this a lot, especially at maybe some lower ranks. Even without a main tank, the enemies stop at the choke. And the reason, and sometimes you can't actually push even when the enemy doesn't have a main tank. The main reason you want a main tank is to stop DPS damage. So it stops quick pickoffs. It stops main DPS damage on your backline. If you don't have a main tank, right? Like, and you only have, say, D.Va and Zarya. If you stand here in the middle of here, you only have 600 health to soak up damage. And as soon as you're low, you have to hide and wait to get heals. But the moment there's no one in the way of the choke, the DPSs on the other team have free line of sight. They can get shots on your supports, they can get shots on your DPSs, but they'll have a shield to hide behind as well. And the shield, you know, goes up to like 2000 HP when it's Reinhardt. And no matter how much your DPSs do, the enemy DPSs are just going to deal more damage to your ones and, you know, charge their ults faster, etc., etc. Not only that, but especially if you have a burst DPS, like if the enemy has a burst DPS like an Ashe, Widow, or Hanzo, if you don't have a main tank, they can easily just quickly pick off one of your supports or DPSs and cause you to lose the fight instantly. Okay? So it's mainly if you see that the enemy doesn't have a main tank, tell your team to pick either burst DPSs if they're good at them, and if they're not good at them, just DPSs in general. Like 3 DPSs can be good against a team without a main tank. Just because if you hold the choke and deal damage and they have a tank to soak up the damage, they're probably going to win the fight or cause the enemies, to start backing up and hiding to get healed most of the time and stuff like that. And as I said, it charges the DPS ult faster, and with the DPS ults, you can push in with the point easily. Let's say if it's a soldier, for example. I mean, soldier's kind of a bad example because he's so bad at the moment, but I think at bronze, soldier can still work fine. Okay? So that's the main reason you'd use the main tank. Now on attack, yes, you could say the same thing, but the difference between attack as well is on a choke on attack, the attackers have loads of places to hide. So if the choke is here, the attackers can literally hide here and just wait, and they're not getting shot by DPSs. Whereas the attackers have this massive window where they can shoot anyone in any of these angles, stuff like that. Okay? So, but yeah, on attack with the main tank, it allows you to push onto the point, and if you have a Winston, he can dive onto the backline supports and cause chaos. If you have a Reinhardt, he can shield you guys to push up past the choke and gain space. So the main thing as well, pushing up past the choke gives your team space, and giving your team space gives your team more options to win the fight, if that makes sense. Okay.
Right.
If your team takes loads of space and forces the enemy team into a single position, one, your team is more likely to hit them because they're all clumped up in a same position, and two, the enemy team is less likely to hit you because you're all separated, if that makes sense, and in different positions, stuff like that. Okay. So that's what making space does, really. And as well, actually, these are basically what I say FPS, these apply to any FPS game, sorry. So these are sort of the FPS fundamentals. So do you know how high ground works as well in FPSs? So do you know why high ground is so important? Not even FPSs, even real war, really. Do you know why high ground is way more advantageous?
Because you have a view of everything around you. And,
that's one thing, but do you know why? Okay, so that's more in terms of war scenarios, but in FPSs, why is high ground even better?
why?
And this sort of does apply to real life scenarios. So basically, look at if I want you to stand here quickly, and I'm going to go on high ground, and I'm going to show you something. So, if I'm on high ground here, right? If I go stand here, right, and I'm looking at you, I can see your whole player model. I can see your whole body.
Right.
If you look at me, how much of D.Va can you see now?
Half.
Yeah, you can only see half of them. So instantly, it makes it easier for me to hit you because I can hit the whole of your body, and you only have half of my hitbox to hit me, right? So also, yeah, another thing you were about to say there as well, if I start getting shot and damaged, or I start getting shot at, I can just press S and I'm instantly safe from any shots you would deal. For you, if I start shooting at you, the only thing you can do is walk forwards, right? That's the only other option you can have. But bear in mind, I then have the option to go like this and to look directly down here. This is the best option low ground people have against high ground, is to go as against the wall right beneath them. That's the best option they have. But the reason why this isn't always best is because, for example, here, for you to go against the wall, you would have to literally go through the choke and walk right into the enemies. So this is never really an option to actually go against the wall right beneath them ever. In 90% of the scenarios, it's not. In some team scenarios against heroes like Bastion, it's actually the best thing you can do. So actually, that's a really good tip as well. If you're ever struggling against a Bastion who's on high ground, just hug the wall underneath him and shoot his other teammates, or maybe shoot the shield, or just force him off the high ground or anything like that. Those 3 things are the best things you can do, okay? And he won't be able to get a good angle, because what he'll have to do is he'll have to walk right to the edge and just be able to shoot you. And if he walks right to the edge, he's now walking in front of shield, right? And he's actually more likely to get either hooked or knocked down or anything like that. And if he goes forward too much, he'll fall down as well, okay? So he doesn't really want to do that. So yeah, anyway, this is why high ground is so important, because it just, other than, as you said initially, it gives you better view. In FPS is really the better view. It's sort of relevant, but probably the least relevant out of the two other things. Now, one of the reasons why going up here is good as well is for the view thing that I initially said, right? So this going into a position like this is good for view, but you can't really do the S thing, because if you walk backwards, you're just going to fall off. So you can't use it to avoid shots, and because this place is so thin, they're going to be able to shoot you most of the time. So going up into this position here is mainly used to knock off the enemy DPS, and it's mainly used to just scout quickly to see, you know, where the supports are, etc., etc. Okay? But yeah, in most other high ground positions, you've got all the three things combined that I mentioned as well. So for example, like up here is really good, and that's why a lot of 90% of DPSs want to hold high ground to just be able to deal stuff. But there's actually one disadvantage of high ground. Do you know the disadvantage if you're a DPS of high ground?
No.
Okay, so the disadvantage of high ground is gives you a whole extra axis that you have to start aiming at. So if you're a soldier, for example, and you're on high ground shooting at someone on low ground, right? You've now got a horizontal and vertical axis to aim at them. So if you're not very good at shooting, it's really hard to shoot someone who's moving in like a circle or anything like that, because they can move anywhere. If you're on the same level, like if you're both at the same level, the enemy could only move left and right. So you're only going on the horizontal axis. And obviously if they jump in the air, it's really easy because they can't air strafe. So their movement's extremely predictable. You know where the jump is going to land, okay? Now, I just mentioned that because it's kind of like a tip for DPSs. As D.Va, it's not really that relevant. You're going to be like close to the enemy, up in their face, to like dealing the majority of the damage anyway. But yeah, so yeah, we've kind of gone slightly over time, but quickly, I just want to give you one more tip quickly for D.Va. So this was more of a fundamentals lesson in basics. We didn't really go through her moves much. I was mainly going through the fundamentals and how to just take map control as D.Va, okay? If that makes sense. Now, actually, I'll give you quickly a few more tips before we finish up, if you have time. So, yeah, that's fine. So, when you're pushing in as D.Va as well, you can be the focus caller. So, because you have a booster move like this that allows you to boost onto anyone really quickly, you can be the one to call the target. So what I would say is know the range of her boosters. You need to know how much a fully charged booster goes in terms of distance, right? And know how far that is as well. Another thing I want to mention as well quickly, when you end, if you're going horizontally with boosters just to get somewhere, when you end it, and when the boosters end, always look up at the very end of the booster, because they allow you to fly through the air for that extra duration, okay? So for example, this is what I meant. So if I'm boosting like this, if I look up at the very end, I'll fly through the air for that little extra duration and go slightly further, okay? That applies for that applies for literally any character with a movement ability. It applies for Moira, it applies for like sort of Winston, because he's kind of in the air to begin with anyway. But yeah, so try it. Do you want to try it yourself actually? So boost, and as soon as it's about to end, like sort of look up a bit. So not that much, just up a tiny bit. And once it's ended and you've looked up, look back down to the person you're shooting at. Now that's only if you want to get extra distance. If you don't need the extra distance, that's fine. You can just cancel the boost. Anyway, back to what I was saying here. So if you're pushing onto, let's say you're in a scenario where you're pushing onto the point with your DPSs and you notice an Ana at the back who's either, maybe she's full HP, maybe she's ready to use sleep dart, maybe she's low HP, or maybe she's just kind of close to you and you can get to her in one boosters. What you can do is you say to your team quickly, Ana, and you say where she is. You just say Ana at the back, Ana to the right, anything like that. And with that call, you can boost on the Ana using the missiles, using the boost while shooting as well. And then if you know she's already used the sleep dart, you can boost on her freely. If she hasn't used the sleep dart, you have to be very careful. And it's kind of hard to track all this stuff, so this might be kind of like too high level. This is sort of a thing you start to learn at like master level to know how to track enemy, like how to track Ana's sleep dart and stuff like that. But maybe, let's say in a scenario where you're pushing and you've actually seen the Ana's sleep dart and you've sort of made note of that in your head. You've just realized, oh, Ana's used her sleep dart or something like that. And you see she's by herself. A good idea would be to boost on her to kill her, because without a sleep dart and with decent aiming, she's probably going to die. But Ana's probably the most difficult support to kill, other than like Brig, for example. But with a lot of other supports, you can actually, especially Zenyatta's a really good example. You can absolutely destroy him if you boost on him while missiling and while shooting. So you have to boost, missile, and shoot at the same time on a Zenyatta. And if you can boost him into a corner, like you can like push him, because you know how the boosters like bump people. If you can bump him into a corner, he's 99% chance to be dead, because of how he has no defense mechanism. He has no escape move, and he has no defense mechanism against someone who's like diving onto him, which is why he's completely super weak to like D.Va and Winston. Okay?
Okay.
With other supports, now what I'd mention is maybe start doing this only if you're against a Zen. I'd say against the other sports, you kind of need to be more careful. Maybe just focus on dealing damage on the tanks at the front and stuff like that. Because the problem is, if you go on another support with a defense mechanism or with an escape, if you boost onto them and they escape, or they use like a sleep dart on you or something like that, you're kind of out of the fight. You've got no boosters and you can easily get demech. So Zenyatta by himself is probably the target I would recommend for you to just focus on to start with, okay? Before you know like move timings and stuff like that, okay? So but the main reason I wanted to bring up at the start is going on noticing a support, at the back and calling them out allows for your teammates to also go on them with you. So you don't have to boost onto them at that point. You can just run up to them and like missile them while shooting. And if they if you hear an Ana use a sleep dart, or they start to use like a move or something to shoot you and you're low on HP, at that point you can matrix if you're low and sort of back up and stuff like that. But a lot of the time against supports, there's no point ever matrixing. I'd say the only important move to ever matrix against the support is an Ana sleep dart, but as I just mentioned, timing a matrix into an Ana sleep dart is sort of high level, and I wouldn't focus on doing that yet. So it's just an idea to call out if you ever see a support at the back by themselves. So I mentioned I sort of emphasize by themselves, because if it's two supports doing it, if you're boosting on two supports, they're going to heal each other and just kill you instantly. So, and then you're going to have no boosters to run away. So you have to be very careful whenever you use your boosters move to make sure you don't land somewhere into enemies that can just kill you or 2v1 you. You're always using boosters. You only ever use boosters on someone who's by themselves, who's either used their defense mechanism or low on HP to begin with, okay? So that's another thing as well, actually. It's important to know if they're low on HP, say it's an Ana who's like a third HP, you can assume she doesn't have an Ana grenade. She doesn't have a grenade because she hasn't thrown it on herself, or she doesn't have a teammate with her. So seeing a support low on HP, because you might have, but remember, you can only see enemy health bars if you've hit them. So with D.Va, if you're spraying a lot of bullets and you see a support at the back, maybe fire one shot on the support for like a split second to reveal their HP. If you see their HP is full, ignore them and continue shooting on whoever's in front of you. But if you hit them a bit and see their HP is low, you can sort of assume that they have no healer with them and they've got no self-healing move or anything. And at that point, if they're on, I'd say, under half health, go with the boosters, missiles, shooting, and you'll probably kill them instantly. Okay? That's an important one. And you can also call it out. But if there's someone on literally 1 HP, then you don't even need to call it out, because you're probably going to solo kill them 99% of the time. And that's another really cool tech as well that you can do. If you ever see an Ana who's 1 HP, right, but you think she has sleep dart and Ana grenade, the best thing you can do if she's 1 HP and you've tagged her and you know she's really low, boost onto her, but while you boost onto her, you rocket and you matrix at the same time. So I want you to try and do that now. Let's say I'm an Ana really low. What I want you to do is boost onto me while rocketing and matrixing at the same time. So 3 moves. So you start with the boost and then you press rockets and hold down matrix. Yeah, exactly like that. And if she's 1 HP, she can't sleep dart, she can't grenade, because you're going to matrix both of them. And because she's 1, the missiles are going to finish her off, okay? So that's a really cool... So that matrix boost missiles tech works against any support that's really low on health that you've spotted by, tagging them for a split second and seeing that they're low on HP. Or if a teammate's called it out to you. But at bronze, I doubt teammates say a word. So it's not really a... Again, with another... You know how I mentioned before, always call out the target you're going on. At bronze, it's not that necessary, but if you know everyone's in voice chat, and it's a good thing to practice as well, just to say who you're going on. Say, oh, I'm going on the Ana, or go on the Ana. You don't even need to say I'm going on the Ana, just say go on the Ana. If you give a command instead of information, your teammates are more likely to do the same command as you. Because if you just say, I'm going on the Ana, it's sort of like, oh, okay, you're going on your teammates are going to think, oh, he's going on the Ana, I don't need to go on her. If you say go on the Ana, then maybe your teammates come with you. So it all depends on, how much HP she's on, or if there's any teammates around to protect her, stuff like that. But yeah, normally you tag the supports once and you focus on their front line. So you shoot the tanks that are right next to you, because obviously someone who's close to you as D.Va is you're gonna deal more damage to. So if there's a tank like a Reinhardt right here, just shoot his shield straight up. A few missiles on his shield straight up. If his shield is broken, walk up to him while shooting him in the head. Go for those headshots with D.Va and kill him while he's low. If they're all, if everyone's on full health, just focus on dealing damage from like a distance. Try not to use the boosters to get a position. Try and get a position by running up there while shooting, and whenever you get low, boost away. You always with D.Va as well, that's another thing I mentioned. You always really want to use boosters to boost away when you're already low on HP, or to boost up to high ground positions. You'd never want to use boosters to engage unless in the two scenarios. The first scenario is what I've just mentioned, if there's a support who's low on health and you can kill them. And the second scenario is if there's people running away. If they're running away trying to escape because you've killed their whole team already, or you've killed half of their team, then you can use the boosters to chase someone. But other than that, you just want to use your walls, use corners to absorb a lot of the damage, and walk up to people like with your guns, and as soon as you start taking loads of damage from someone behind you or someone to the side of you, boost away back to your healers, get healed a bit while still shooting, and then you can sort of push back in, stuff like that. Okay, so that's really important. So yeah, that's kind of the end of the lesson. I'll mention a few things as well. So yeah, sadly we couldn't really, I did sort of more of a positioning one and the basics of D.Va lesson, but I didn't go through her moves and how you should really use her moves. I sort of went through it, like how you should use her boosters to get like positions and stuff like that. But there's more to like her missiles, and I'd say there's more to her matrix and there's more to her ultimate, but we didn't really have time to go through that. So that, if you ever decide to order another lesson, that can be for that. But yeah, so yeah, I know that was quite a lot of information to take in, but you said you were recording anyway, so you can sort of go over that if you need to remember anything. And sorry?
Yeah, it's recording. Yeah, I'll be
okay, cool.
Most definitely.
Cool. Yeah, that's good. So yeah, so as I said, I only really went through half of the things, and I hope it was helpful in realizing your role as D.Va against people that are dealing damage, and how D.Va is so flexible in the sort of different options she can do. She can hold like high ground, low ground, focus on DPSs, focus on tanks, focus on supports. She has a bit of everything. That's why she's probably the best character in the game, because her moveset is so like versatile. But yeah, yeah, if you were to order another lesson, we'd go through our other moves, maybe do it on another map, or go through the other things that I mentioned as well. But yeah, an extra thing I want to mention as well, if you ever have any questions about small questions that can be answered kind of quickly, feel free to send me a message on Discord and I will answer them in sort of the clearest way I possibly can. But yeah, I won't really be able to go into too much detail, and I might not answer straight away if I'm like busy or something like that. But yeah, I'll try to get back to you with like an answer to them. If there's one thing that you've always wanted to wonder, or one thing you always get stuck on, maybe there's like a hero that's constantly like killing you or something like that. And another thing, quickly actually, do you think you might would want further lessons, or do you think I've gone through like enough things already?
No, I think I'm probably gonna get another one.
Okay, cool. So if you were going to get another one and we were to expand on it, then one thing that's might be an idea is, while you're playing Overwatch, if there's ever a scenario where you want to answer a question, or if there's ever a like scenario you just don't know how to deal with, or maybe a team comp or stuff like that, write down questions, and in the next lesson I can go through them in like loads of detail to sort of explain the answer to them, just so we can do like a Q&A before the lesson begins or something like that. Okay?
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, keep on playing, I guess, competitive, and use the tips I sort of gave you in today's lesson.
Should I be more on in the quick play, or should I go ahead?
So, what do you mean? Go ahead on to competitive.
Or
Okay, so what I would say is competitive is almost 99% of the time better than quick play, because in quick play people don't pick real comps and it's sort of bad practice. It's sort of like everyone's doing their own thing, and DPS is sort of reign free in quick play. So what I would say is, if you do want to play quick play, do use the find a group thing and go as a group of 6 with enforced roles, so it's like competitive. And if not, I would just spam. If you don't want to play quick play, then just spam competitive as much as you can, because that's the best way to improve. Because everyone's trying to win, everyone's at your rank, and it's the most even experience. If you're ever in a scenario where you're sort of too you don't want to play because you don't want to lose SR, a good thing to do as well is to create a second account, like an alternate account, so that you can play on that account freely without having the the risk of losing SR that matters to you. Okay, if that makes sense. So a lot of people do that. I think most players do actually do that, including me. But yeah. So yeah, play competitive. I'd recommend anyway. And yeah, I hope that was helpful. And I don't know, do you want to, if you are certain on booking another lesson, do you want to book another one now? How many hours did you book with rank 1?
Just one.
Oh, just 1 hour. Okay, yeah, that's fine. So one thing as well to mention, rank 1 is usually used to find coaches in the first place, to find the coach that works best for you. Obviously it's up to you if you want to book another lesson on the website to try out a different coach or stuff like that. But as well, you can come through me directly, and there will be a little bit of a discount anyway, if that's completely up to you, if you like my coaching style, basically.
No, that's I was wondering about that, and I didn't know if if that would work or not, but
yeah, because I know the lessons on rank 1 the hours on rank 1 I think are quite expensive. I mean, it depends who it's, but yeah, it's mainly just to find yourself a coach to begin with anyway, the one that suits you.
do you want an email? Give me your information, and I maybe we could work something out. Or
Yeah, sure. So yeah, I'll write to you your email here. I'll write my email here actually. Hold on. Yeah, excuse the email. It's just one that I use, but it's years old, very old. But that's the email I have anyway. But yeah, if you want to contact me as well, either shoot me an email or message me on Discord, and I will respond to either one.
okay, where is it? Did I miss it?
I sent it in Discord actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I sent it in Discord.
Okay. How do I get in Discord here?
Oh, were you in game?
Yeah.
Okay, so hold down Alt and press Tab.
Alt tab. Okay. Okay.
Cool. Yeah, does it show for you?
Yeah.
Also, as well, tell me if that I need healing thing ever fixes itself in a game. It might be because of this custom game, but yeah.
Yeah. Actually, it worked in this game at one point, because I pressed X and it said I need healing.
Oh, okay,
My
that's
fat
fine.
fingers
So,
didn't hit it, but yeah.
oh, fair enough. Okay, so maybe it is working. That's fine. But yeah, so that's my email. And again, if you have any other questions or need to message me, yeah, email or Discord for Overwatch related questions as well.
Okay. There's mine. Let me.
Cool. That's fine.
Yeah. Okay.
I can actually wait. I'm gonna pin your battle tag and your email. I don't know if you want to write my email down.
I am writing it down right now.
Okay, cool. So I'll just pin your information just so I can quickly access it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
But yeah, do you have any other questions?
I do have some questions, but the lesson's over. We can talk about it later. Tracer. Some tracers give me trouble,
Yep.
But
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, Well, I'll go through that in like another lesson if I'm going to book another one. And also as well, if you want to record another game with this information that I've given you from this lesson, that's fine. So we can have an updated video. Or if not, we can always use your old video if it's like, an issue that hasn't arisen or again or something like that. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if you care or not, but yeah.
Sorry. Wait.
Real quick.
Yeah.
My YouTube channel is Alex Ziegler.
Oh, for like your videos of odds and stuff. Okay, so yeah, I'll remember that as well if we like ever go into a thingy, and then we can watch like your matches together. So I use a program called like MyCircle TV, or a website called MyCircle TV that allows us to watch the video at exactly the same time, and it will require your YouTube channel as well.
Okay.
Cool. But yeah, other than that, I hope you had a good lesson, and yeah, email me or anything, or message me on Discord, and I'll see you later.
Okay, thanks.
Cool. Bye.
also a cord. Do you like cords?